The Calgary Flames moved Noah Hanifin, but did they get enough? Nick Zararis of Locked On Flames joins us to discuss that and more next on Locked On's 2024 NHL Trade Deadline Special.
The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NHL Trade Deadline.
Gil Martin here from Locked On NHL. The Calgary Flames continue their sell-off late on Wednesday, shipping defenseman Noah Hanifin to the Vegas Golden Knights for conditional first and third round picks, along with defense prospect Daniil Miromanov. Nick Zararis of Locked On Flames is here with me to break down the deal from a Flames perspective. And Nick, did they get enough in this trade for Noah Hanifin?
It feels like this fits the theme of what the Flames have done so far at this deadline, where they've prioritized getting as much quantity as back in return. There's arguments whether or not that's the safest strategy as far as what you're getting back, especially trading with a team like Vegas, where you know these picks are going to be at the back ends of rounds and prospects where, frankly, if Vegas had a use for their prospects, they'd be in the lineup because they're a very expensive team. They're an older team. And if a younger guy is going to be able to break through, that would be a real coup for them if they were able to save some money on a young guy breaking through. But this fits the theme. Calgary feels very strongly about their pro scouting department. They've prioritized certain prospects who've played a lot in the AHL, whether it be the Tanev trade or this one. Miromanov has been in the AHL on and off for a couple of seasons now. And at 26, you would probably like somebody a little bit younger in their trajectory, because somebody who's 26 and only has, 40 NHL-ish games, that's a little bit of a cause for concern.
Where do you see him fitting into the Flames lineup?
See, that's what's interesting is pretty much all of the returns in these trades, except for Kuzmenko, have been defensemen. It's very clear that they understood that Tanev and Hanifin wouldn't be with the team going forward, and they're buying lottery tickets effectively. They're hoping some combination of the two defensemen they got from the Canucks and Miromanov can kind of slide in during this transitionary period where they still have Chillington, they still have Rasmus Andersson, and they still have Mackenzie Weegar, and they need to fill out the rest of that lineup around those guys because those three guys are pretty solid. Chillington hasn't played a lot in the NHL over the last couple of years, but in theory, that's a solid top three. And if you can hit on one of these three defensemen you've gotten back in trades over the last couple of weeks, or you draft one with one of these picks, the filling out the lineup going forward becomes a lot more practical.
Craig Conroy has now traded away Elias Lindholm, Chris Tanev, and Noah Hanifin in the lead up to the deadline. How would you grade him on these three trades so far?
This is where the range of opinions has really gone far and wide, where I've seen people saying he's done a great job. I've seen people saying he's really gotten basically the bare minimum. And I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I would probably say something along the lines of a B-, where I understand the idea, even if I don't necessarily agree with this path of trying to get as many lottery tickets and AHL guys as you possibly can. I understand what he's trying to do. During media availabilities, he's been very strong on the idea that they feel they have a good talent identification system in their pro scouting department. And that's why they've prioritized prospects over picks, where you would argue you would rather just have the picks because that gives you even more time. There's a real argument if you get as many picks as you can, you really can kick the can down the road and buy yourself time to build it up from the ground floor. Instead, it kind of seems like the Flames aren't fully taking themselves out of being a competitive team. I know we'll see about Markstrom in the next day and a half. If that happens, then I'll change that opinion. But for now, I would say solid. It's nothing flashy. They haven't gotten any slam dunk prospects. A lot of the guys they've gotten back are fringe NHL guys. If they hit that 200 game benchmark, that would be a good career for a lot of the guys they've gotten back, just because they don't have a lot of experience. And frankly, the Flames are at a point now where they can afford to take some risks, because it's going to be a year or two before they're realistically expected to make the playoffs again.
Do you think the Flames are done, or do you see another move before Friday's deadline?
I think the Markstrom trade, if it were going to happen, would have needed the Devils to kind of get their act together. Losing over the weekend in California just didn't go well for them. They fired their coach on Monday. That's really the only team that's in the market for Markstrom from what I've read, sure, things can change. Maybe there's a mystery team out there, but he's really the only other player that would make sense to trade. And based on the only team that was reportedly interested kind of stinking up their season, I don't think that happens.
All right. Well, we will see. For more on this trade from both sides, be sure to tune in to Locked On Flames and Locked On Golden Knights for free on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.